Yo, what up? This is Rim, and I read the book Savior's Champion by Jenna Moreci. I didn't like it. Hold on, there are pros and cons, and I just have to rant about it for a little bit, man. Spoilers ahead. Savior's Champion is about this edgelord named Tobias who lives in this world ruled over by some Christ figure waifu named the Savior, who brought this shit stain of an isekai planet into the modern age of a medieval era society. A long time ago. Now they have world peace so long as these deities keep pumping out god babies like slot machines before they die. So basically the power of these women's vaginas calls world peace. So our anime protagonist is just a regular guy, down on his luck, working overtime just to make a decent living wage. So Tobias, henceforth known as the Tobemeister, lives with his mama and his lame ass sister, because she can't walk. And he's basically the man of the house. He hates it, and it is implied, unintentionally I feel like, that his mom is only using him for money. Like, this isn't a traditionalist world where the woman takes care of the house and the man runs the show and brings the bacon. It doesn't even seem like a fully equal world. And if you don't agree with that, you've got to at least notice the fact that they don't have an equal household, at least. It just really seems like the world is very gynocentric or matriarchal, majority of the time, throughout the story at least. But then again, the political world building in this book is all over the place, leading me to ask the question of why doesn't his fully capable, non-crippled mother also work and help him out with the money, because he seems like he's working a lot. And like, you can say she's taking care of the sister or whatever, but I mean, come on, bro, y'all could trade shifts so my dude can get some sleep every once in a while, man. Like, come on. Regardless, outside of the world politics, in the household, their mom runs the show. She tells her adult children what to do like they were middle school kids. And I mean, the family has a weird relationship in general. Like, the Toadmeister comes in and his mom tells him to take a shower. So he showers out in the open, next to them, in full view. Then, if I read this right, he walks up to his sister, hugging her from behind, lifting her up and spinning her around, after she wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him close and like, she seems more like his girlfriend than his sister. I am only saying this because they're fucking twins. They are both in their 20s. I, as someone who is experienced in also having a sister, and we are both in our 20s, can confidently say that most of us, like, in that general demographic, would not hug our sisters from behind. She would also not wrap her arms around my neck while I'm spinning her around like a fucking douchebag. Actually, I feel like I've seen that exact scenario somewhere on Pornhub or X videos or some shit. He also does this fucking freaky ass thing where he kisses his fingers and presses it to her lips or cheek or some shit. Honestly, if she was a child, it would probably be a lot less weird. But nigga, come on. I mean, it kind of makes you question why she made them in their 20s and twins, bro. I am having too much fun with this one. It's nice to show how much he loves his sister, but there is love, and then there is sickly sweet. I'll leave it up to your interpretation as to what you think this shit is. I do like how his sister is in constant pain though. Imagine having to hear your live-in blood-related look-alike girlfriend constantly screaming and groaning in pain while you're trying to sleep. You just gotta like look over across the room. And she's like toppled over in pain. Like, she's just like shaking and in cold sweats and everything. And you're just like, shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm trying to sleep. And you just like throw something at her. Like something really heavy. It's like it cracks her fucking skull. Fucking shit. Just mercy kill her. So, the Tobemeister has a friend named Milo, who's totally not gonna die. He comes in acting all over the top. He kisses the mom and flirts with the lame cripple sister incest girlfriend. He's totally not gonna die, guys, alright? He's not gonna die. Then he asks the fucking mom if he can play with Tobemeister. Mom says bet, but be back by 5 because Tobemeister gotta make her that money tomorrow. So they go out and pound a few brewskis. Then Milo tells him he wants to enter the tournament to fuck the savior. Oh yeah, I forgot. So like the vaginal Jesus has a tournament, right? When she comes of marrying age at the age of 20, they do a fucking bachelorette death game to see who can lay claim to that unlimited supply of vaginal Jesus juice. So Milo tells Tobemeister he wants to enter. Then Tobemeister's like, you're short, you're scrawny, you get no bitches, you're a piece of shit, you're gonna die. Damn, that was mean. I hope Milo doesn't actually die or Tobemeister's gonna regret saying that to him. Milo is like, come on, let's join together. We're brothers, and also you'll get rich, you know, because they get a $20,000 lump sum amount of money after they get chosen. But then Tobemeister is like, no. But then later that night, after he flirts with his sister, he's like, yeah. And then he goes last minute and joins. So he gets to the tournament, and I am 80% sure that Jenna was typing this part with one hand on the keyboard and another between her legs. The guys throughout the tournament are treated like objects. They never even wear shirts. They are half naked and being oiled up and groped by random women who I'm pretty sure Jenna envisioned had her face throughout the entire book. At one point, Tobemeister even has to be jerked off by a nurse for a test to see if his sperm was good enough for God herself. And I'm just sitting here thinking, if the genders were reversed, the writer would have been canceled. Honestly though, I am all for that. I didn't dislike it. Fuck. Can't stop. Aside from how funny the idea of Jenna inserting herself into an all-male femdom self-written sex fantasy book via the vehicle of several side characters is, I am and forever will be an advocate for not holding back in any regard for your stories. Then Jenna caught me off guard by actually admitting that treating men like objects is a bad thing. Damn. At any other point in time, I would have accused her of internal misogyny. Too bad I am of the opinion that she sucks at writing men. At least based on the one book that I read by her. Like, the characterization of each and every one of these men paints a picture of a writhing mass of dicks and balls, condensed into a Lovecraftian atrocity of testosterone and lust, surrounding the singular pillar of pure humane masculinity, who is the one and only Tobemeister. Like, near chapter 5, I began to realize Tobemeister was he comes off like a fucking white knight and not like other guys. Like, there are these handmaidens that are in the story, and they do like basic, I guess, things for these men. I'm so articulate. There's a cosmetologist named Delphi, and the healer named Layla, who is totally not the vaginal Jesus, by the way, just so you guys know. Then there's this one autistic chick named Pippa, who's just kind of there to be all adorable and autistic. So there is this point in the story, I forgot the chapter, where the men get drugged. Why couldn't this just have been a normal game of Bachelorette, by the way? So the drugging happens after Tobemeister wakes up and he's eating with his homies. He invites Pippa to sit with them. Oh my fucking god. Alright, so this part sent me into a fucking rage. Hold on. I am going to get it out, but it's like, I hate this part because it's an actual pet peeve of mine. This part made me disdain Tobias. He's not the Tobemeister here. He doesn't deserve it. He's Tobias the nice guy. He kept offering Pippa food, and she kept saying no, to the point where one of his friends, his name was Flynn, I think, yelled at him to stop simping like a bitch. And all jokes aside, I hate when guys do this. And even though I think that Jenna wrote a terrible depiction of men, like, not in a, oh, you misrepresented my gender type of way, but in a, you just wrote a general male archetype and amped that one trait up by 1,000 sort of way. But she hit the nail on the head when she showed that some guys do fucking do that shit, man. High schoolers do this, some adult men do this. The thing is, no one likes that shit. Guys laugh at you. I don't even think women like it happening to them, because that's a red flag that a motherfucker is probably way too pushy and it's creepy. Like, even if a woman did this to a guy, it's just like, stop fucking offering things. I said no. You're not being nice, you're being a nuisance. The thing is, I thought this was setting up his over niceness to women as a character flaw. But no, he's Toby Stew, Mary Sue with a dick, so he can't have a flaw. I expected too much. We can't have our anime MC looking bad at all, in any way, can we? I mean, this guy became a master of melee and magic in one night. In fact, let's amp every other male character's negative traits up by 1 million. Okay, so this is the part where I rant about how much I hated just all the characters in this book. Layla, who is totally not telegraphed to be the savior in, like, I think the 9th chapter, by the way, is just as bad as Tobias. I mean, honestly, I liked Tobias a bit at the beginning, but that's because they were setting him up to be like this broody, douchey type of guy, and I assumed that the story was gonna be a deconstruction of who he was as a person based on how his family dynamics hoisted so much responsibility onto him, going as far as forcing him to give up all of his dreams, which is why the over niceness towards women thing came off as a flaw to me. Because Captain Save-A-Ho is real, forcing kindness is negative and narcissistic, and disregarding your own well-being for others is dangerous. And of course, there are questions that are difficult to answer within those topics based on context and perception that I assume was going to be explored, but nope. It was setting up a Gary-Mary power couple. Layla is Tobias's love interest, and totally not Vagina God Savior of the world. She's an amazing fighter, she's super smart, she's such a great healer. So great, in fact, that the doctor who joined the tournament, who by the way is a fucking doctor, is so jealous of her prowess as a healer that he stands over her shoulder and spills his patriarchal oppression all over her out of spite. Alright, I'm gonna paraphrase. So his title was the Physician. Like, all the men were given titles to dehumanize them, and his was the Physician because he's a doctor. I'm gonna have to do a much more structured review after this, but whatever. Anyway, Layla was taking care of Toby Stu, and the Physician was like, let me take a look at him. I'm a fucking doctor. Then Toby Stu was like, wow, he don't like you. He's mean for wanting to help me. God, Tobias is such a fucking white knight prick-ass simp bitch. I'm going overboard a bit, but he is really annoying. Then in reply to quote Layla, the person who is totally not the savior, by the way.
He doesn't like me because I'm better than him at his job, and I'm a woman.
Bitch, at least 99% of men do not care if a woman is better at a job than us. Both men and women have had women teach them something skill-wise that they did not know how to do prior to that lesson. And this is a pet peeve of mine. Like, I really hope not all of Jenna's male characters are this bad. Like, it reeks of a character that has no depth aside from what the author wants them to be to push forward a certain type of narrative. And it is completely fine to have whatever type of narrative you want. If you want to have an all men are sexist narrative, you can do that. Just write it correctly, write it well. But, like, even in this story, it's not even implied that he was being sexist. She just assumed because the words came from a man who is not our white knight anime MC. Like, maybe the Physician was worried about Toby Stu. Maybe due to all the trauma that he was subjected to during the tournament, he was stricken with depression and anxiety, and maybe that was something he had never felt before. They had just been poisoned after all, and he almost died again. So he got antsy and just wanted to feel useful in some type of way. Thus he fell back on something familiar to him. But nah, all men bad. Except Toby Stu. Everything about this book is just so shallow. Characters die, except for Milo. He definitely does not die. And whenever a character dies, it's just like, okay, you got this paper bag and put it in the trash can. Should I care? Even the Stu/Sue power couple romance was a giant nothing burger. They fell in love because the plot says so, and since neither character had a personality, of course there was no chemistry. She likes Toby because he's good. He likes Layla because she's smart. Put that in a blender and give it 8 days and bam, romance. To be fair, I understand that this is a 30-day tournament, but then you can just wait until the second book before they actually fall in love. Patience is key, Jenna. I mean, you had them wait to fuck. So, I mean, if you wanted to be more realistic, on average, people tend to fuck before they fall in love anyway. Just flip that around. Besides, less scenes of these two flakes of wall paint slathering each other and copious amounts of purple prose and saccharine dialogue wouldn't be the worst thing. And I noticed a lot of booktubers or author tubers or whatever this community is actually called saying that the pacing in this book is great, and it's not. Not in my opinion, at least. She sits on certain scenes way too long, and I get you want to put your reader in the moment, and to do that you need time. But there are lots of moments where Tobias and Layla specifically are just caked up talking about nothing. I assume this was to reinforce just how in love Layla and our resident nice guy are, but there is such a thing as too fucking much. I feel like a lot of it could have been cut out, like them laying under the tree and the descriptions and the sex dreams. I think there were 3 or 4. Why the fuck do we need those? What do they add? You can have like 1 or 2, but after a while it's just filler. Same with dragging on the internal monologue. I'll avoid talking too much for spoilers and time's sake. But Toby is about to get fucked by a hot bitch who is totally vaginal Jesus, okay? And he goes on and on and on about how he doesn't want to fuck her, but he has to, but he doesn't want to. He went back and forth like 3 times, then ran out and did something that should have gotten him killed. Villain motivation is just retarded, honestly. But I'll let people read it themselves if they haven't, or I'll just make a video about that alone, because holy shit, the conflict in this book is contrived as fuck. Also, disclaimer, I haven't read the second book yet, and I'm assuming that book explains more about things that I have problems with. Now, I am being generous when I say that because I couldn't see too many things being explained in the second book, but it is possible. A lot of things around things with the savior and Layla totally not being the savior and totally not hiding herself away because she's totally not about to be assassinated. And a lot of things about the villain's motivation and why they went about executing their scheme the way that they did, because as it stands now, it just seems like Jenna didn't plan ahead of time for her end goal. Of course, that can always be fixed if you do a second or third or fourth or fifth draft, but it looks like she didn't do that either, honestly, just because it's so logically inconsistent, it's ridiculous. Lastly, this book felt like a 12-year-old wrote it, and it feels like the 12-year-old thought that they wrote an adult book by putting blood and the word fuck and people doing the sexing in it. But what they really wrote was a young adult novel that needed to trim off the macabre and profane excess. Anyway, I'm just some dude screaming at nobody right now. And I will continue reviewing this because this is my hobby after I read the second book, to be fair. Alright, bye bye. Also buy her book.